Hi, everybody. This is Tanya Barbie of I Am Still a Rose in spite of it all. No matter what we go through, I'm still a rose. And we are in the process now of bringing on a very, very special guest. And Rashaud, you're still watching. I need you on. Oh my goodness, I've invited you. Now, we always do this. Okay, I'm going to do it again. I'm inviting you again. See if you got that one. This is amazing. Okay, let me know if you got that one, Rashaud. Text me and, Hey, nephew. Hey, everybody. Thanks for coming in. I have an awesome discussion tonight with Rashaud Cleveland from South Carolina. He's a podcaster and he talks about relationships, and I talk about relationships. So why not have two, male and female, come together to have a frank discussion about dating and marriage and divorce and all that good stuff. So bear with me. I'm having some technicalities, and but I am trying so desperately to have him on. So please bear with me. John, I wish you were here with me right now. Rashaud, let me know if you got that invite, because it says here is sent. It's just waiting for you to accept. Let me know. Let me know. Y'all bear with me. It will show up right on your screen. Yep, it says invite, and it's already showing up on mine that you just need to accept it. Invite a friend to your. And I'm just waiting for you to say okay. So it should come up right on your screen, Rashaud. That's what I'm waiting for. I will not do this show without you. I need you. So you're going to have to look on your screen and let me know, hey, nephew, that you have accepted it. It should show up right at the bottom of your screen or at the top. And then when you hit that button, you're going to show up on my screen. Y'all stay with us. Don't leave me. Rashaud, any luck yet? You still don't see it? I see that I have invited you. But ladies and gentlemen, once we get connected, we are going to talk about everything. We're going to keep it real. We're going to talk about the good and the bad in relationships. Why are women having dating issues? Why are men having dating issues? Why are we in the ruts that we're in a relationship? We're going to talk about why so many people are single when they don't want to be single. We're going to talk about dating woes. We're going to talk about the issues women have when they go on dates and the issues men have, because we have two people here that we're going to discuss this from a female's perspective. Now, I don't speak for all women, but I can speak for me, and I believe a lot of women will agree with me. And we can also speak on and then Rashaud is going to speak on the man's perspective. So there we go. Here he comes. Okay, he's coming. Dun 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 dun, drum roll. Dun 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 dun, drum roll. Come on, Rashaud, I see you flashing. So I'm adding you, and John says invite him and he'll do the rest. Well, John, you got to Okay, because he's added, he's coming. He just ain't in here yet. Y'all don't want to miss this one. He is connected. Yay! We got Rashaud in the house.
I'm trying to join my. I tried to join from my computer.
John said invite him and he'll do the rest. Well, John, you got to. So we have you in. He's added. He's coming. I see the reverb. I hear the reverb. Are you ready?
I believe I'm ready. My phone camera quality isn't as good as my computer's.
Oh, okay. Well, I think it's good. You look good.
Oh, well,
that's all that matters.
I'm trying to find somewhere to sit it so I don't have to hold it.
You look good on camera.
Okay. Well, thank you. Let me find somewhere to sit this.
All righty. Okay, again, while Rashaud is getting settled, ladies, single ladies, y'all want to listen. Y'all want to take heed. Don't get mad because he's going to say some things that you may not like. Because when I was on his live, I got mad at some stuff he said, and I took it personal, but I thought about it, and I couldn't get mad because he was speaking to me from a man's point of view, and I'm never going to be a man. So a lot of times women, we got to step back and just hear it, understand it, and take it to make ourselves better than we are, and to be able to communicate better than we do when it comes to men. So back to the beginning, we have Rashaud Cleveland here from South Carolina. I fell in love with him because he is doing the same type of discussions that I do. However, he's on there with men, and they talk really raw about us and about relationships and about issues. So he's also a podcaster. What's the name of your podcast?
The name of the podcast is Indubitably.
Indubitably.
Yes, ma'am.
Ooh, that's a big word. What does that word mean, Rashaud?
Indubitably, it's essentially a fancy way of saying I agree. It's something that we often say when we're having discussions and someone makes a valid point. We usually say indubitably.
Okay, awesome.
Yes, ma'am.
All right. Well, he has a podcast, and he keeps calling me ma'am, so you know what that means. I am very, very dated. Okay?
No.
So
I say ma'am to 3-year-olds. I say it to everybody.
Okay. All right. That makes me feel a little bit younger. Okay. All right. Now, Rashaud, you promised me you're going to be you. I need transparency. I need it from your perspective, because we're going to discuss a lot of things that we need to know about. Women are struggling out here. We want the best. We worked our butts off. We've been single parents forever.
Right.
And now a lot of us are out there again in our 40s and 50s, and we want to know, what are we doing wrong, because we are stagnant.
Indeed.
We might have it going on in the job,
right,
in the workplace, but when we come home, we got to turn on them lights to an empty house.
Indeed. Well, I think
talk to me.
I think of that that plays into the fact that you're mentioning career women. The only thing is with career women, a career isn't what makes you attractive in the eyes of a man. So you go out and do all of these things and acquire all these things as far as professionalism goes, but it doesn't necessarily add any more value to you in a man's eye. So then that kind of forces them to ladies to make a decision between, do I be more career driven, which tends to be a little bit more masculine, or do I settle down and be more feminine and look for a man to provide and support? So there's kind of been a disconnect. There's kind of been a disconnect between what either side wants.
Interesting. So what you're saying is, when I bring a date home and my house all laid out, I'm all educated. I don't have baby kids. They say yes sir, no sir, what have you. Mm-hmm. The man still ain't interested. You're saying that it's more so what we bring to the table from a feminine side.
Yes, ma'am. Well,
that has nothing to do whether or not we have a job or not.
Well, see, all of that's on the back end. That's not something that we initially see or look for. Our men are visual, so our initial attraction is going to be physical off top. So we're going to go after what we see that we think we want. Now, past that, once we move past the initial meet and greet, we start looking for all of the other qualities. But off top, we're not looking for a career-driven woman. We're looking for someone we're attracted to right off top. That's the first criteria that needs to be met. Once that's met, then the rest of that falls behind.
Well, if that's the case, I noticed you mentioned physical.
Right.
Does that mean on the outer beauty or the inner beauty, that piece of equipment that connects with you all?
Well, if I'm being completely transparent, upon first viewing you, I have no knowledge but of what I see. So that's all I really can go based off of. Now, that can be determined by the conversations that we have from that point forward, whether you have any value outside of what I'm physically attracted to. But you got to understand that when I first see you, I'm not attracted to your internal beauty because I don't know your internal beauty.
Right. Got it. So how do we take that outer beauty that the gentleman is attracted to another level?
When you say another level, you mean essentially like commitment and relationships and all of that?
Before we get to commitment, I like her. I want to get to know this woman.
Well, for one, she has to be interesting. The thing is attraction gets you so far as a woman, but beyond that, what are do you actually have a personality? Do I have to create you? Do I have to tell you what you like, or do you already have these things in mind? Do you already know what it is that you want in life? Certain things like that. Like again, but all of that is still on the back end.
Right. So what's on the front end besides the actual beauty of the outside? What else are you looking for? What else is a man looking for? Because women are struggling with this. They don't have a clue.
So essentially not what catches a man's eye, but essentially what keeps him interested to want to pursue you, to continue to pursue
yes.
you. It kind of falls under compatibility, because not, and I'm speaking from a very generalistic male point of view here. A man's initial point, a man's initial attraction is physical. So his mind is kind of there in the beginning. So his eye is set on the prize, which is what you have, which is what he wants, right?
Okay.
So the whole time he's essentially putting his best foot forward to get that, right? Now, in the meantime, that's when all of the rapport is built.
Okay. So that's when the rapport is built. And I noticed something else you said, pursuit. So that means the men do still want to pursue a woman that they're interested in.
We do. The only thing is men are tired of not getting any effort in return. What we do is we're always requested to have so many things up front, to do this, to be able to communicate, to be consistent. But what we find is on the flip side of that, a lot of these qualities are not exhibited in the people that's requesting them. So what's happening is you're asking for consistency, right? But if I text you and I don't get a response, am I supposed to double text you? Am I supposed to continue to hit you up? And now I seem like I'm a bit thirsty. Now I seem like I'm a bit over pursuing. So there's such a gray area in what you all would like from us to do. So we kind of just play this gray area where that's where you end up with the what you doing text all day.
Interesting. So we have to step up to the plate as well and be consistent in what we demand or suggest of a person that's pursuing us.
Yes, ma'am.
And be consistent about it.
Yes.
And not say, I wish you would communicate with me more, but when they go out and do that, we don't even reciprocate, because now we on another path. We're not even where we were in the beginning.
Right.
So why the disconnect? Is that the disconnect because we're asking for something that we really don't want? Because when you give it, we don't act like we wanted it in the first place and we don't receive it well?
Um, well, in this day and age, everybody keeps a backup. So what tends
Mm.
to happen is I get placed in a backup slot. Like you may be interested in me. Oh, my phone's going there. Hold on, let me plug it up for a second. I'm gonna finish the statement. But you may be interested
Okay.
in me, but my interest isn't high enough for you to really just communicate with me on a consistent basis. But the thing is
Okay.
women want 100% transparency, but you won't let me know that I'm at the bottom rung of your interest level. I have to kind
Now,
of figure that out.
interesting. So, what you have encountered and your colleagues have encountered is we have backups.
I'm sorry. Y'all have what?
You really you think women have
Well,
backups?
no, I don't think I know women have backups. I have plenty of relationships with plenty of females, and I know for a fact they have backups. And it's no different for men. I don't. It's not exclusive to women.
Well, that's interesting because if we do have backup, now I'm defending the sisters. It's because it's the sister power over here.
Right.
Because we're doing that because we've been taught to do that because you all have been doing that for centuries.
Well, men and women are not the same creature. That's another misconception. Women say that they can do everything a man can, but the thing is you can do everything a man can, but then what happens to your femininity when you do that?
Absolutely. Absolutely. And that's the issue that we have because men, we when men leave us with the kids,
Mm.
we do pick up those masculine ways.
Yeah.
We become the daddy too. So with the daddy comes a little more masculine, a masculinity comes forward. We didn't ask for that. We just got stuck with that. And
Indeed.
then it's hard to turn that off to be in a relationship because how do you turn it off when it's turned on?
I, I, de-
And it's been done for
I,
years.
I definitely agree with you. Um, I often say that my mother sacrificed some of her femininity to raise me. I understood. I understand. I should say um, the paradox that is the black family. Um, the only thing is who that we as black we as people are to blame. The system itself has kind of pushed that divide between us. If you I don't want I doubt we gonna take it there tonight, but in any case, that there has been a divide to divide and conquer as far as the family unit is concerned. So what
Yes.
happens is you place women in masculine roles, then they still turn around and raise men who don't necessarily have all of the masculine skills they need. So it creates a cycle.
Yes.
Uh,
That is so true. And that is the issue. That's where we are today.
yeah.
And now we out here trying to love again, trying to fix things that we don't even know how it got broken in the first place. We're not taught how it generated. So but now we're in it and we're trying to fix it, or we're just trying to improve in our own lives. And it women are just down right now because they're like, what am I doing wrong? Well, I can tell them one thing I know they're doing wrong. They're thinking their profession and how they're living is going to put them on a pedestal in a man's eye. But I've seen a man prefer someone who's barely making it, who's struggling out there versus somebody who's got it together. But the women who seemingly have it together can't understand why a man wouldn't be attracted to that.
Well, I will say that women who have it all together seem to be a bit combative, and they
Mm.
simply because they're so used to being the leader. Anytime anybody else comes in and essentially butts head with their leadership, they're not going for it. Anybody that has any views outside of what they deem is responsible, then they're not going for it because they've dealt with life on their own for so long then they really lost that necessity for a companion to help them lead, or to lead them, I should say.
Wow. So what advice could you give a strong woman who's having a hard time connecting with anybody in her age group, and she wants to get it right? She's been divorced. Now she wants to remarry and or be in a solid relationship. Doesn't even have to be marriage, and is non-existent.
I think that we have to dispel the misnomer of right first and foremost. There is no formula for the perfect relationship. There is no formula to create the perfect relationship. It it has to be organic. The thing is I understand that a lot of women are dealing with the issues with men not necessarily seeing the value they have based off of what they are showing them. But a lot of times women are also selling things, that selling ideals and selling perspectives that men aren't buying. So it's
Right.
just it's so much I can say about it. I don't want to kind of get off topic and just talk about other stuff.
No, but I appreciate that. You just hit a key word. Men are not buying it.
Right.
So tell me what they are buying. What's important to them?
Um, it's important to me, because it's hard to say, but I like to try to speak for most men. Um, Most men, we deal with enough battles in the world every day.
Yes.
We don't really want to come home and deal with battles with our mate. Um, a lot of women, and I know a lot of women hate this word, but a lot of women nag. They do.
Ooh.
They hate that word. A lot of women nag, and the thing is if it is not, if you're complaining about something that is not going to make you leave, then why are you continuing to complain about it?
Right.
So the thing is it's very simple things that women nag about. But the thing is it creates a problem, because now you have an issue with me over something that's really trivial. But it's simply because you said you wanted something done and it wasn't done in the manner or in the time frame that you requested.
Right. So we do that a lot, is what
Yes,
you're saying. And we're losing.
I think it's the genetics.
Yes. And it could be the mother in us.
Touche.
Look at me trying to justify it. The mother that's had to be the mother and the father to the children.
Touche.
And then when they get the man in their life, then they're drilling them like they do the kids.
Well, so you got to understand, if you want a real man that's ready to lead, no real man that's ready to lead is going to deal with that.
Absolutely.
So you
Absolutely.
got to understand the monster you're attracting. So if you're gonna treat him like a child, you're gonna get a man that's just supposed to be treated like a child.
Right. So that could be one of the reasons why a single woman remains a single woman. So what advice would you give your sister who is 45 to 65 that really wants to go out there and start a relationship? What advice would you give her to start over again?
Set. This is gonna. I was gonna say, have no expectations.
Mm.
You. It's not fair of you to place expectations on someone that you have no inkling of what type of person they are. Only set expectations that you actually discuss with a person. Never have an expectation that a person is not aware of.
Right.
Then there can never be any disagreement based on what was said or what one's supposed to do, because there's never been a conversation about that expectation, so we can't be upset if that expectation isn't met.
Interesting. So that's one thing. No expectations. What else? Because you've been pretty PG. It's okay if you go R, if because these sisters might need to hear you go R. It's okay.
Okay, well, if we're going there, stop treating sex as a Scooby snack. right? Stop treating it as if it's as it is a reward when it's essentially part of what you're trying to build.
Okay.
I mean, and I know when you send me the topics, we're gonna talk about intimacy and all of that.
Yeah.
But I do understand that, of course, no, not a lot of women are gonna just jump in. Some women will, as far as physicality goes. But the thing is you have to understand that a lot of men, that's what's on their mind, regardless. 65, 25, 15. That's part of the
Okay.
man's psyche. So you have to be okay with being sexy. You have to be okay with that part of you.
Okay. So we got to watch our expectations, and we got to be sexy.
In layman's
What
terms.
else? Yes, in layman's terms. Yes, I got it. What else you think?
Um, step outside the box when it comes to dealing with men.
Mm,
Because I hear a lot of women say, "All men this, all men that," but I think a lot of women miss the step of you chose who you're dealing with. So if you continue to deal with subpar people, then you're making subpar choices. I mean,
mm,
it's only math. If you continue to get the same result, then you can only assume that you're still doing the same thing wrong.
right.
So step outside of your box.
Okay. And date somebody you typically would not date.
You know what? Date someone who scares you. Not in a fearful way. Date someone who scares you as
Got it.
far as oh, they may be too much for me. They may be a bit out of my league or whatever. But date someone who you feel like you have to be more with.
Absolutely. I love this. So, do you think those three things you would share with your sister, is that it?
Mm.
Or you think there's a whole lot more and that
That's
we should have a class on this? You might need to do a
what I
webinar on
couldn't see.
this.
I'm really. I wouldn't say that I'm that versed in relationships because listen, I'm 32, single with no kids and no wife. So relationship is not actually something that I've indulged in a major part of my life. But that's only because I have no problem calling a spade a spade. If it's
Right.
if this is the expectation of what we've said that we're doing and what we are, this is what it is. And if it's not, then it's not that, and it's not anything else.
Right.
And for that to be the case, I've never had a problem ending it, or I never had a problem with anybody ending anything with me, just because I understand that that's how the game go.
Exactly. And do you think it's a game from the beginning to the marriage?
Well, it's essentially it's all a game because you have to.
Hmm.
If we think about chess, you have to play your role. There's each
Right.
piece has its own specific movement. If you're a knight, you can't move in a straight line. If you're a pawn, you can't move more than two spaces. There's rules. So we have to get into these. We have to understand what our role is in each other's lives, because we too many times we try to place these broad gender roles on each other. When not everybody fits inside those gender roles. You have to find what works for you and your other.
Absolutely. And so, do you think there is a possibility, a strong possibility, that a woman today and a man today could actually be in love with each other?
I do, but I don't believe in the classical sense of in love, because I've never thought that love was a feeling. I've always thought that love was a choice. Um, the feeling you get, that's just butterflies. That's what you get around anybody that you have any sort of emotional connection to. So
Absolutely.
I don't feel like love is a feeling. Love is a choice. I'm choosing to love you despite your flaws. I'm choosing to love you despite the things I'm nagging about. Or I'm choosing to love you
Yeah,
despite the fact that you headbutt me when I'm the leadership and you're not, but I don't have a problem with it because I want your voice to be heard. I'm choosing to love you despite all of that. The thing is
absolutely.
people don't make those. They don't choose to love people based on those things. They choose to love people based on what they can offer.
Right. And love, I agree. is more like an action word,
Yeah.
where you're right, it's a choice.
Mm-hmm.
And you're right, you accept that person for the good, the bad, and the ugly,
Yeah.
and you don't nag that person, because that's part of the ugly. So you're not going to get 100% in anybody, because none of us was made perfect. So you will have to deal with the negative on top of the positive, because nobody's going to have a perfect 100% package.
To say, me and my partner often say, a lot of people have it misconstrued. They want their partner to give them 100%. I don't.
Absolutely.
You need to keep something for yourself. You never invest
Yes.
all you have into any one person, because at the end of the day, happiness is a selfish thing.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Like in Waiting to Exhale, when I can't think of her name, the actress said, "I gave you everything.
Mm-hmm.
I gave up my catering business
Right.
to help your business." Why did she do that?
Right.
You see the outcome of doing that. She gave 100% of herself, and dude was like, "I still don't want you. I'm
Facts.
still going over there."
Facts.
So we should not give 100% of ourselves, and that's why women are snapping. That show is a popular show, because so many of us have snapped.
Mm.
And I do believe, not the shows that talk about the greed, they're killing for money, but those that have killed for love, because they have taken it to a whole nother level.
Mm-hmm.
And they didn't know what to do with that love. They gave everything they had. So I recommend that 100% go out the window, because then you give all of you. And you're right, you don't keep anything for yourself. And that's going down a bad road altogether. But what do you think about forgiveness? There are a lot of women who have been gone through a divorce because the man got caught, just like in Waiting to Exhale, cheating with another woman, and he's actually left her for that woman, and living happily ever after. And she's in the home, sulking every day, never forgiving herself for not knowing, never forgiving him for leaving her. And that's with her 10 years later.
Right.
She never forgave.
Right.
She never let it go. So she never met anybody to live her life to its fullest. So what kind of recommendations could you give to a woman that has not forgiven, as well as a man? Because nowadays women are picking up and saying, "I'm leaving you with the kids. I got to go. I didn't sign up for this."
Right.
So what do you think about that?
Well, forgiveness is never for the other party. Forgiveness is
That's
for you.
right.
Forgiveness is for
Right.
you to have your peace. That's closure for you. So
Yes.
the thing with forgiveness is that goes back to that 100%. Because if you
Yes.
gave them 100%, it's going to be pretty damn hard to forgive them, because you left
Absolutely.
nothing for yourself. And also,
Abs-
I think we as men and women, we need to take a little bit more accountability, because
okay.
I'm hard pressed to believe that there are no signs that someone's not happy in this situation, or any situation they're in. There's always
Yeah.
signs, there's always red flags. So I think that if we hold ourselves more accountable for ignoring these signs, it'll be a lot easier for us to forgive, because we understand that this is the choice I made to continue to go with this, even though I've seen these things.
Yes, but not always are there red flags. Sometimes the woman or the man is in the dark, but a lot of
Mm-hmm.
times you don't see it coming, because the partner is so strategic in what they're doing, how they're cheating, how they're doing it during working hours. So when they come home at 5 o'clock, you're like, "My man's home every night." So you would never assume that this man has another life, because he's home at 5 o'clock every night. So a lot of times you don't, and some men are so good
Mm-hmm.
that they can sex up their wife and make the woman think he has to be all mine because we're getting together at least 3 or 4 times a week.
Right.
But he is actually set up home with another woman to get ready to ease out of his relationship with his children to start anew with his new spouse to be. So a lot of times they don't know.
My question.
It's not always red flags flying all over the place that we're ignoring. Sometimes you are absolutely clueless in what's going on.
If again, I just want to be completely honest, and it's gonna sound harsh, but shit happens. There's no way possible that you yourself can actually see anything that's going to happen prior to it happening. If there's
That's true.
if there's no indication that there is any foul play in the air, then who are you to blame yourself for not knowing? Furthermore, why are you not forgiving yourself?
Right.
So it
That's a good point.
so if they were that good to hide it, my question is if it had never been found out, would that person still remain happy had they been living that double life? If that woman that he was cheating on never found out that he was doing this and he continued to live that double life, she would have lived a happy life had she never found out.
Absolutely. That's so true. That's a good point.
So it all hinges up on what you can live with the knowledge of. And also, I feel like a lot of times that a lot of people don't understand that back in the, like, we're going back to like kingship and queens and whatnot, marriages were supposed to be for empire building. It wasn't really
Yeah,
about it wasn't really about love. You grew to love who you married, but it was about empire building. It was about having the same goal and ambition in mind. So if you start out with that as the head of it, a lot of the other nonsense falls by the wayside, because as long as you have that one that one singular focus in mind, and we're going to get to this point, then a lot of that kind of just loses its sting.
interesting. So we can't blame ourselves for a failed relationship.
No.
So we need to get beyond, as I always talk about on my lives, get beyond the pain so that brokenness won't attract other brokenness. And then you wonder why you're in that vicious cycle. Oh, he did me just like the last one did. Well, you never got healed from the last one. So all you did was attract the same bro, different name.
Touche. Same.
So how do you stop, how do you cut that umbilical cord from being the same old mess over and over again, just a different face? And that goes for men and women. How can they stop with that drama and never get it right? And now they're all broken because they're acknowledging, wow, this is just like Alice did me. This is just like John did me. So what can make us stop doing the same thing over and over again?
Only a personal choice. Only a personal choice to it. Like I say earlier, there really isn't it isn't a formula to it. If you want to be honest about it, the divorce rate is as high as it's ever been. So it's clear whatever formula we thought worked is no longer the
Right.
same one that's giving the right answers. So it really is, it is a case by case, person by person, relationship by relationship scenario. Um, you have to you first and foremost you have to know yourself. If you don't,
Yes.
what's happening is a lot of people don't know themselves. They're looking for someone else. I hate when people say, "Oh, they complete me." Well, they shouldn't, because you should already be whole.
Thank
You
you.
should. No one should come in
You
and
sh-
complete you. They should
that's
be
right.
complementary.
That's
So
right.
if you
Oh, that's beautiful.
and not saying you can't deal with people.
1 second.
Okay.
Hold on.
Make sure my phone ain't going dead. Oh, I'm gonna want to set. Ooh, is this thing plugged up? Yeah.
Okay, I'm back.
I'm sorry, my phone is acting like it don't want to charge. Just a second. Let
Uh-oh,
me.
that's not good.
It's not. Let me get a power block and plug it into that.
Okay. So, who do you have anyone in your life now that you can describe as having true love? That you've witnessed them being in true love to the point where that's what you say you want. Uh-oh, I lost him. Hey there, Ronnie. Hold on 1 second. Let me get him back on. Hold on, everybody. We were having a great discussion about relationships and the good, the bad, and the ugly, and what we as women should be doing and should not be doing. So we're going to have him come back on, and I'm hoping that you guys will stay with us because it was such a great conversation. He's keeping it real. And hello, Yosef. The topic is relationships. We lost him because his battery went dead, and he's going back in he was fixing his battery, and then we just went dead. So hold on a second. I will definitely have to have him back again because he is right on point about a lot of things, and a lot of things that we go through is because we come in with expectations. We come in with the wrong expectations because we really should not be imposing expectations on anyone but ourselves. But we have a tendency to always assume that it's okay to tell somebody else what we want of them. I think it's okay to tell people how we are as a person and what hurts us and what we like, but to impose an expectation on someone else is totally unrealistic. And that's what we were talking about. And great points. I got to get him back. And thank you. That's right. Love is a choice, daughter-in-law. Love is actually a choice. And it's also an action word. Oh, my daughter's here. Hey, Jesse. It's also an action word. We actually do need to show love versus to talk about love. Because anybody can show love. I'm having a hard time getting this gentleman back. And so he owes me one because he knew we were coming on live. Um, I need to get him back on again. Thank you, John. Um, thank you. Relationships are tough. How do we get? He can also ask me to come back on because I've invited him, and it's not showing up that I've invited him. Um, yeah, his phone went dead. But ladies and gentlemen, we really need to work on forgiveness in order to love again. And we can't find love unless we love on ourselves initially. We have to honor who God has created. And just because somebody didn't like something about you doesn't mean that's a bad quality that you have. It just means simply that they didn't appreciate your qualities. But God made you who you are, and you have to accept that and understand that. And don't ever allow someone else to come into your life and impose their expectations of you that you feel you are uncomfortable with, and that you could never live up to those expectations because you're who you are. And it's not an expectation for you to become more like someone else expects you to be. And that's why you can't do the same thing. As Rashaud had said, we as women have a tendency to always want others to we always want others to 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 tell us how we're supposed to be, or we're always waiting for others to tell us how to be. And Rashad, the gentleman who I had as a guest, who I'm trying to get back on, um, he says we nag a lot. And he said a man doesn't want to hear a woman nagging. And I've heard that a lot in my last 10, 15, 20 years, that women nag a lot. And we got to ask ourselves, why are we nagging? Because these are grown men. They're not our little boys. They're not our children. So why are we nagging in the first place? And we're losing a lot of good men because we're telling them how we want them to be. And that's just not going to happen. That's just not going to happen. Um, Let me see if I can get him back. It was so good. He kept it so raw, y'all. And he was trying to be so PG, and I didn't want him to be PG. I wanted him to be who he is. Send another invite to me, trying to get it from the computer. Okay. All right. What I'm going to do, you guys, because I really needed to have him back because we have uh, half, we have some more things to talk about that we didn't even get into. So I'm closing out, but I'm coming back in. So this is part one of the video discussion about relationships, and then we're going to have a part two. So please join me because a lot of you women who are single, who want to be married, y'all need to hear this. Point blank. Point blank, you need to hear this. And John said it is better to live in a corner of the housetop than in the house shared with a quarrelsome wife. So we need to stop nagging. Thank you, John. Nobody wants to hear that mess. It's drama. Nobody wants to hear that. So let me get him back and I'll be back on. Thank you for joining us. This is a very good discussion. This is one of my best out of many. But he said his phone is coming back on. So wait, his phone's coming back on. So maybe I can get him on this one now. Hold on one second. I'm gonna try, and if I can't, you guys, I'm gonna have to go back in and get him to come back on. So bear with me. Bear with me. Okay, I'm not going to hold you all up. It is a Thursday night. I'm going to call him back and get you all back on. So please come back in a few minutes because we got to finish this up. It's live. He's going to keep it raw, and we need to hear it as such so that we can move on with our lives and connect with those that we want to love us. All right? Thank you. I'll see you soon. Bye now.